So we didn't realize that there was an echo at the beginning half of this video when all three of us were there, but once Sandrine gets up to leave, it seems to have fixed itself. I want to apologize for it, and thank you guys for understanding, but we will make sure that's not happening in any future coming videos.
Alright, we're going.
Okay, what's going on, guys? We are here today for our first official video. Today, our topic was mostly, as you can see from the title and the thumbnail, is stepping into the darkness to share the light. So
What does that mean, exactly?
It's a good question. What do you think? In your guys' opinion, what does that mean to you guys? Because I have my answer. But
I want to hear your answer. What is...
So, in my opinion, stepping into the darkness to share the light, it's not in the sense of like how you step into a dark room, but stepping like with a flashlight, but more so stepping into the culture, stepping into anything that says like the people of this world that don't know Jesus, they don't believe in him, or they just don't care, and sharing not my light, but his light through me.
This is like the Christian culture?
Yeah.
So you're referring to the Christian culture
No,
as stepping into the dark?
No, like, yeah, the Christian culture is stepping into the not, like, the culture in general.
Okay. So what you're saying is, like, stepping out of our comfort zone, which is mostly, like, considered light in most people's eyes, and stepping out to people that don't know the faith,
Yeah.
and considering that, like, the darker side of the world, and you're trying to be like a little candle in the midst of darkness.
Exactly.
Okay.
My reference, I like it a lot, because even a candle in a pitch black room is still going to give up quite a bit of light, even though if you put it in the room. That's why I really like this, because you put a candle in our hand right now in this lit room, that candle's not going to seem bright at all, because it's already in a room that has a ton of light. So if you step into a pitch black room, that light's going to seem like one of these lights.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And so, like, I really just relate that with, like, just sharing the gospel itself, because you can always talk to other people like how we're doing now, all of us people being in the light. You can talk about God, you can have a candle in an already lit room, and it's, yes, it'll help a little bit, but in the grand scheme of things, there's already light in that room. So especially as disciples, as we are called to be, we should be more focused on the broken people, the people that are in the darkness. Because that's going to make a bigger impact. Our conversation will have a bigger impact than with people who are...
And Jesus even says in the Bible, you know, sick people need doctors, not healthy people. So exactly. I like that, because you can, like you just said, you can preach to the choir all day long, but they're not the ones who need to hear it.
For sure. Yeah. And I think a lot of what was hard, especially in school, is like there's so much dark, and I think that's why it was hard for a lot of people to spread it, because I know a lot of people that went to school with us that were like, yeah, we try to do all these things, but it never really works. And I think in that situation, it's like you're maybe like even the size of a match, like you're a minimalist sort of in that big of a school. So it's like you feel so outnumbered by hundreds of people to where it's like you don't know that you'll even have any light in that dark of a place.
So that's actually a great segue into the first like real question that I had like wanted to talk about is, why do you guys think, so you kind of answered it in your perspective, why do you guys think it's so hard for people to step into that darkness, take that first step into the darkness?
Well, because it's the darkness. Because it's scary, it's dark, it's unfamiliar. A lot of people nowadays, we live in a culture where everyone's really content with what they do. They get complacent with what they have, and I think that's why bodybuilding and Christianity go so hand in hand. They have been lately. It's because like when you're practicing the faith, it's kind of like working out, because every single day you're pushing yourself to do what your body tells you what not to do. Because the Bible actually talks about your flesh, soul, and your mind, your spirit, your body, and your mind are all three in a different battle. And when you're out, you're out pursuing God, and you're out doing His work. Your body wants to fight you on it. Because your body only lives for pleasures. So like that's why I think lifting and spirituality go hand in hand that kind of way, because you're out there pushing yourself. You're being out in the uncomfortable, out in the darkness, out in the uncomfortable, pushing yourself every single day. I think that's why like Like, for instance, I lift, you lift, and it's like, do you lift?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you said something earlier about that. So, like, you kind of get used to being, you kind of get comfortable being in the uncomfortable in that kind of sense. And people don't like to take that first step because it's so uncomfortable.
Well, I think it's another thing of like, it's so uncertain what can happen, and most people don't see results quickly, and so it's another thing of like, am I really comfortable stepping into this uncertainty? Like you were saying, most people are so comfortable now, and it's another thing of like, I don't know that this is even gonna work, and I think that's why so many people are repelled by the faith, because they're like, does this really work? Like, we can't find out until after we pass away, is what it seems. Yeah.
I agree, because I mean that's literally what, in my mind, that's what the internet is, and why today compared to like even in the 1950s, like we're just so impatient. Because I mean, we can contact anybody. We can like back then you have to like send a letter, and someone has to go like even farther back than the 1950s, like 1800s. They're sending a letter, even if it's a different state. Like that's gonna take quite a bit of time to get to it, and like the communication is longer, so people were more patient. But now with like social media and everything, they're used to instant gratification. So especially in the sense of faith, like the biggest test of your faith is if you can be patient. And so like us not being used to that is like, I think one, not just for the people who are in the darkness, the unbelievers, why they're scared to try to step into the light is because they want that instant like result. But same with like people who are still lukewarm, and like even if they don't consider themselves a lukewarm, people who are still fresh in it, because they're like, well, if it doesn't happen, like if I go and pray for this person and or pray for something I want and it doesn't happen instantly, is it because he's not real, or is it maybe because I don't have enough faith? And so like even I don't struggle with it as much, but like why I don't make, or used to not make bigger like prayer requests, is because if it doesn't happen, it's not for me as much as like he's not real, but more so I think it would kind of just like hurt me in the sense of I don't have enough faith for this to actually happen.
Yeah,
So,
that's crazy to make that connection, because the Bible does just talk everything about patience. Patience is patience that, like, God, that's like his major test for us is patience. And like I was talking to you that one day about, there's a dilemma where where the Bible talks about divorce being a sin if it's not for like cheating. Like I can't remember the exact verse, but pretty much like, what does that wife do or that husband do when they're stuck in a relationship where they're getting beat by the significant other? And because I mean, that's reading the word. The Bible doesn't say that's a reason to break up or get a divorce. So like, what is that significant other supposed to do? And honestly, what my answer to that was being patient and sticking in it. And even though you want to leave, even though you should leave, but if you stick with it, you're being patient, God will either take care of that or something will happen. And that's cool.
They'll die. The person will die.
The other thing that the Bible says
They'll
is
blow up.
Lightning just comes and strikes them down.
Phew.
just smited. The other thing that the Bible says is like, the only reason that you should leave your significant other is if they're drawing you back from him.
That's true. Yeah.
Now, if it's like physical or mental things and stuff like that, it's like, God doesn't say that you should leave them, but it does say, like, if they're drawing you back from him, then that is probably best case scenario.
It warrants breaking up, warrants divorce.
More so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do have a question though. I guess I already answered. I feel like you guys have already unintentionally answered two of the bigger questions, or like I guess my first questions, which seem to me to be bigger questions because they popped up first. But like, in your opinion, what is your light? What is your version of showing his light? Because obviously, like I said at the beginning, we're not shining our own light. We're shining his light through us, as like we're the candle. He's the actual flame. So how do you? What is his light coming out through you?
I can answer this. So for me personally, I feel like that definition. Well, I feel like personally that answer changes kind of as you grow. Your light may become different, and really you got to break down what this definition of what does that mean. And for me, that's like, what's that thing that as a servant of God that I do as a Christian to share his gospel, share his holiness, and that's kind of what that means to me. So what I would say with that definition is that I feel like working hard, because the Bible preaches working hard, and I think as Christian, especially Christian men, and that's a different conversation why I think specifically men. But for right now, to answer this question, I think that hard work is what your responsibility is, and hard work, and same for women too. But I think there's different parts to it as well, different roles that God kind of intends for us to have.
There's different roles.
Because He made us, I mean, genetically, we're not the same at all. Whether people like want to hear that or not, like we genetically are different. Like men, for instance, are able to. We have a 24-hour cycle for our energy levels. So like when we wake up in the morning, I just saw some study on this. And I can't remember where it was from, but it was men have a 24-hour energy cycle that we're energetic throughout the whole day. And then when we come back, that's when it kind of dies back down. And in the morning, we're not as energetic either. But that's because we are intended to like go out and have that energy to go work really hard and come back to it at the end of the day. And whereas women can go multiple days with high energy, and it's just a different cycle. We're built different. But I was getting off track. Oh, to answer that question, I think that the light that I'm able to do is just like working hard, doing well, and then like crediting God. I feel like right now my light is just crediting God for what He's done.
Yeah, which I think I do a decent amount of crediting, but I think another way of like me showing my light is I've had a lot of like different people who are telling me like, oh, this needs fixed, and it's like one of my biggest things is I've been reflecting a lot more and then fixing what I'm reflecting on. And I think it also depends on where you are and what you're doing, like how your light changes. So like what you were saying, if we just go out in public, there's a bunch of darkness, like we'll be like a candle. But if we're doing like a one-on-one or even something like this, if either one of us was in the dark, I feel like our light would be bigger. It would be more like a flashlight. So I feel like it just depends on what it is. But I think serve is a good one that we do to show our light. I feel like it's a very outward way of showing like this is what our purpose is. And you and I even got to talk to, was it Kimmy?
Maybe.
I don't remember her name. But we had
the girl,
the lady in the gas station we got to meet with, and she was like, it's so good to see all these kids just coming together to show like God's purpose and being able to.
Do for her? Oh, what was it?
We just went in to get like snacks or something, and we were on a bus that had our church, and she saw all these kids coming in, and we were talking about our purpose, and Trey first spoke to her, but I came over afterwards, and we were like, yeah, this is just what we do. We're here for the week. And she was like, it's so good to know that there's kids that still love Jesus and are willing to serve like you guys are.
Because, now that you're saying it, I remember because the conversation
we were all
started,
hugging her and everything.
She was. I asked if she was okay, or I brought up I asked her a simple question about like, should I get this snack or this snack, and she was like, honestly, I don't know. And then I was like, well, anyways, how are you doing? And she was like, she didn't answer. Like most people will just give that common like answer, I'm alright, and because no one really, usually the person who's asking doesn't care enough to hear if it's not. Like they don't really care that much, and so she just answered, like she answered it, but it wasn't the common like good. And so I asked her, like I don't know exactly what she said, but it wasn't a positive thing.
She was saying that she's going through a divorce right now.
Yeah. And she was like, 'cause she believes in God and everything, so she was just really confused on why this was happening.
Which is another thing that was brought up in the sermon today.
Yeah, and so
I think that's definitely one of your lights, is being able to go up and just talk to a random person. You do that
for
so
sure.
well. Like you just walk up and spark a conversation with somebody.
Like to answer that, I feel like that is what my dad just, because like, even though it's not a crazy uncomfortable situation, a lot of people don't like doing it because they'd rather stay in their comfort zone, which even though it's not like, I guess it's not a bad thing, that I think they just don't have that social skill, which there's certain aspects I have terrible social skills. Like if I were to go to, like if I went to a party, I would not be able to do what I do versus like a random person I see in public. So that I think that is a trait and that he's given me to be able to share his light. And then same with like I think especially it's adapted into my like person over the past 2 years. like I don't really care what others think about me. Like in a sense of like I don't want to fit in. I don't care to be popular. Like I mean I guess that doesn't matter now, but like stuff like that. Like I don't care to look strange to other people.
Which is one of the biggest things right now is us going against the grain, because that's what all Christians are doing. Like, we're the ones, especially right now, like, we could be doing anything else right now, and we're here just to spend more time with God, and, like, we're just going against the grain because this is not what normal teenagers, or even, I'm guessing you're 20.
21.
Yeah, so even early 20-year-olds would be doing, like, most people your age would be out drinking at this point.
Yeah.
And so I think it just shows a lot about how we really hold ourselves and how we just really don't care.
That
Like
kind
you
of
were
reminds
saying.
me of when you were saying like you're not worried about what people are thinking whenever you're going out there and doing that. Bible talks about. I found this really interesting, but the Bible talks about like when you pray, it's not supposed. You're supposed to do it with humility. Like you're supposed to like fully like it's not supposed to be a show. Like you're supposed to just like literally like be. You're trying to almost like humiliate yourself, like because you're trying to be deep and honest and open. Because I feel like
You're reflecting.
yeah, and I feel like most I don't even want to say most. I'm not trying to spread hate on the churches, but I feel like some churches nowadays like they try to make it like bend the church to the people versus people bending to the church. And it's like that's one major thing is you gotta when you are showing the light of God, you can't care. You can't care about being worldly. You can't.
Yeah, for sure.
You gotta just dive into it. Humility.
Well, I just want to say something real quick. I know you said that you had to leave here soon, and it's currently, I think, 3:07. So I want to make sure that you're not late to what you need to do.
Appreciate it.
So if you need to go right now,
Pretty much she's kicking me out and doesn't want me on here.
I am not kicking you out. I just want to make sure you're not in trouble with somebody.
No, that's okay. I gotta get out of here.
Well, I appreciate you coming out. Hopefully we'll have you on some more.
Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Nice to meet you too.
Don't touch me.
Psych. See you guys.
All right. Well, do you want to click the button for his mic in? It's the third one. No, on the actual USB thing. Remember? So, once you click that, it should stop. Yeah, it stopped recording. Awesome. The other thing that I want to say is when he talks,
He's very loud. Yeah.
well, it's not just that he's loud. He was talking directly at your mic.
Yeah.
So, because of how your mic was sitting, it was picking up on that more.
I did notice that. He has
So-
a louder voice too. That just carries.
He's more assertive.
Yeah.
This is off topic.
Dummy daddy.
But I just wanted to clarify that real quick.
You're good. What were you saying though before he had to leave?
He was talking. I
Or
wasn't
you
saying
said
it.
you wanted to say something before.
Yeah, I wanted to say something before you started something else because I knew that he said that he had to go.
That makes sense.
I
do have a really good question. So there's a few I'm gonna skip out of order for this just because I'm really curious because I was thinking of two people. I was thinking of Hudson, one of our friends, and then
Yeah,
my
Hudson
girlfriend,
Ewing.
Jersey, because like these people, even though outside like people would see like no matter what they think, they have a connection, a good connection with God and in their faith.
For sure.
But just because they haven't read as much or they haven't been as serious as long, I don't think that they're like giving themselves self-pity, but it's more of like a confidence thing in that they don't feel like they know enough to sit there and like how we should be like going out and talking to people about God or just even telling people about him, whether it's a full conversation or just simply saying like when I'm at work, I'll tell people if they ask me how my day's going, I'll tell them God woke me up. So I'm doing pretty good, or like I have no reason to complain because he woke me up. And even something as simple as that. And I think that most people like they get scared.
Which
They're
is a
like,
good conversation starter because
Exactly.
they're like, oh, you believe in your
and
religion.
even if it doesn't, like seeing a young, and I guess I mean, it doesn't even matter that I'm black, but seeing a young adult be this like open to oh my gosh, I freaking dropped my cream.
Oh my gosh. No, I get what you're saying, and I think
It's nice.
I can confidently say, and like I'm not the most perfect Christian. Like I don't read every day.
Yeah.
I don't read very often, but that's not because I don't like the Lord. It's something that I'm trying to work on because I don't like reading in general.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me, which like I understand how that can break down your confidence in that though. And I think Hudson is coming around. I think his main thing is he's so young compared to all of us that he feels out of place. When in all honesty, he's on the same walk we are. He's just years ahead because he's been around us. Like I almost feel like we mentor him. I feel like we mentor him, which is
That's good.
a big thing. But did I tell you about what his card said to me at Serve?
Mm.
He put on the card. So we do care cards at Serve. Basically you write about how you notice people change. What he said to me was the reason you're so proud of me is because the way that you've poured into me, which hit me so hard that I like have this influence on him because I don't think I do at all. But he reassured that, and it was like,
It's all God.
yeah, it's all God.
Allowing you to.
Like we can sit there at Bible study and he cannot share, but he's paying attention.
Yeah, he's gaining from it.
Like he doesn't share much. He likes to stay quiet, which I respect about him because he listens well.
So leaning into that, how like if you don't feel like you're knowledgeable enough or well equipped enough with like not just the Bible and what's in it, but God Himself, how can you still like try to shine your light? So for like people like him or Jersey, like how can you, as those are the only, there's more people we probably know that
Yeah,
like
we
that,
know
but
a
like
lot more people.
how do you think they can still like how would you offer them advice to still go and shine?
So I think my thing is, even if you're in that position, because I'll speak off of like experience,
Mhm.
because I've never really been like I've been fully committed, but I've never like really read, so I don't have the same knowledge as most other people. But like if you pay attention during church, you pay attention, I would say for my youth group,
Mhm.
you learn little verses, you learn little analogies, and those analogies can be everything. Like John 4, I knew that just from other messages. And it's like if you're able to use that, John 3 and John 4 are some of the biggest ones that change people because it shows you like the sacrifice that God gave for all of us, and then John 4 talks about how he will uh like provide and do things for us. And I think it's just that and being willing to go out and just be like, hey, I don't know everything. Like like he was saying, it's not humiliating yourself, but you're being open and understanding.
Having humility, not
Yeah,
yeah.
having humility and just being like, I don't have the answers, but if you're talking to someone and they have a question that you don't have the answer to, being like, hey, I don't know this at the moment. Let me get back to you. Let me take down your information and I will find an answer for you.
Because yeah, we'll never know every if you people generally think they have every answer to every question regarding to the faith. They're lying to themselves and to other
For
people.
sure.
Because no matter how long you're into the faith, you're always gonna have questions you yourself can't answer that other people could, just because they've had that experience or whatnot. So yeah, I agree. Like just coming at them with like, I mean, it's the same with even workforce or like workplace. Telling someone like when I was starting at Lowe's and paying like, excuse me, I would like if I was working by myself and someone came to ask for a specific question or like just started it to get like paying, I'd tell them like, hey, I'm new here. I'm not the most knowledgeable one that works here in this area, but I'm the only one here in the same sense of like someone who's not as knowledgeable going up by themselves to go talk about God. You're the only one there, but you just because you're not the most qualified doesn't mean you can't still try to help in any way. And
Yeah.
so just being like, hey, I don't have all the answers. I don't know everything. But like, I mean, it's as simple as saying God still loves you. Like,
Yeah.
even you don't have to read a single part of the Bible to know that God loves you.
Well, if we're gonna go based on like your work as a good analogy, it's like I'm not the most qualified person, but I know when the more qualified person will be here. If you want to show up tomorrow at this time, then
Yeah.
you'll get your best answers.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest things is like just coming back and checking up. And I think even just with normal Christians, like checking in on us, just checking in with one another, like Christians know it's not going to be easy. We're always going to have struggles.
Oh yeah. So honestly, in my opinion, that's the best part of being a Christian is it doesn't get easier, which
No.
just means it's working that much more. I think if life got easier, I mean,
We would become comfortable again.
yeah, complacent. Like I just wouldn't care to strive for better.
Yeah.
And um,
And that's why so many people show up week and week
yeah.
again and again is because nobody has the answers. We want to learn.
And I feel like, I mean, I haven't experienced it with Union Chapel yet. Like, I don't think I'd ever experience it, but a lot of churches nowadays are, especially to new people, they're trying to preach the message to bring people in to faith. They're always telling them life will get easier. Once you give your life to Christ, everything will be sunshine and rainbows.
And we
that's just,
don't. We tell them it's
yeah,
going to be harder.
yeah, it's like but that's a good thing. That just shows like, I mean, that's the same thing with like working out, which literally I think is perfect. That this is like what we're going for is fitness and just like
Faith.
God, yeah, and
Because they go hand in hand so
yeah,
well. Like
exactly.
if you look at most uh people that are like really doing this and really putting their all into both, they go hand in hand and they'll speak about it together because the more that you work out,
It doesn't ever get easier.
the harder it gets.
Yeah,
The harder
exactly.
it gets to push
More
more weight,
more reps, any of that aspect, yeah.
which is why it was so revealing to me when I took weightlifting class. It's like, wow, I had this major jump in the very beginning, just like my faith. I had this major spiritual high. I had
And
all this.
it gets harder and
And
harder
then
because
I tried
spiritual
to push
warfare,
new
man.
PRs, and it was like, oh my gosh.
It's the same thing with spiritual warfare. Like, I mean, with spiritual warfare, I always tell everyone I'm talking to, regardless of how deep in their faith it is, since I don't use those words as much, it sounds so weird because, like, you always hear this with, like, very religious people, like, saying, don't live by the world, like, stuff like that, or
Yeah.
spiritual warfare, like, bigger words that you'd use in the faith. But, like, it's the same principle, spiritual warfare, where, like, there's constant attacks at you and your faith, and that's the same. I mean, it's not you're not obviously getting attacked by dumbbells and bench press,
Not
but like
actual like fist
yeah,
fights.
but like
It's mentally.
it's a mental battle. Oh, I don't look as good as I did yesterday, or oh, I couldn't push as much weight as I did yesterday.
You have
Should
all
I
the
quit?
temptation in the world. You have everything going against you to
Mhm.
the point where you decide like,
Should I quit?
is
Or,
it
yeah,
really this or should I just go back to being comfortable?
yeah, because I mean, yeah, it's not hard sitting at my on the couch eating potato chips and watching Netflix 24/7.
The hardest part is getting
Getting
up
up.
and deciding to take action
Exactly.
because you can sit there and eat all you want every
It's
day.
easy, yeah.
It's so easy because naturally everyone wants to eat and a lot of people are stress eaters
Yeah.
and everyone in this world goes through stress all the time.
It is fun. Or not fun, it is interesting though.
It it's almost comical sometimes.
Since you have your phone, do you have your phone with you?
I do have my phone.
Could you look up John 11-9?
John 11:9.
And yeah, read it out loud.
All
Because
right.
that's the verse I really wanted to find. I forgot. I was telling myself to bring my Bible before we got here, but
Yeah, let me find it real quick.
this verse definitely um there's a lot of verses that just talk about the light and shining a light through the darkness. There's probably 30, 40 verses that talk about it, but this
Yeah.
one stuck out, so I really like it.
All right, I've got it. And I'm in NIV right now. I like to read in King James Version, but it's on NIV at the moment.
It's a good thing you said that when he wasn't here. Sandrin hates King James Version.
Really?
Because like, I mean, I see where he's coming from. I don't
It's harder
really
to
care.
read, but sometimes it's easier to understand. But
The reason he hates it or dislikes it is because he sees it as, I don't know who wrote it. Was it Michelangelo? It was someone famous that wrote it.
oh, I have no
Like
idea.
he was a famous person who wrote the King James version, but he wrote it for the king. So
Yeah.
like the way he sees it, he's like, I don't like. Why would I? I mean, they are similar in some aspects, but there is some differences in certain parts of certain books where
There's certain parts where
it
they're
almost
more detailed.
yeah, and the way he sees it is like he's writing this to please the king. So why some of that could be like
But is that not the same thing with NIV? Are we not writing it to plead to the younger generation so it's
yeah,
easier to read?
not plead, but please. I mean, that's my
Or
bad.
yeah, please.
But yeah, I get what you mean, and I get what he means. So
I
but
mean, unless
anyways,
we're reading the initial Bible.
I have to pee every time I move it. Continue.
Do you need to go?
No, it's okay.
All right.
I'll suck it up.
All right. John 11:9. Jesus answered, "Are there not 12 hours of daylight? Anyone who walks in the daytime will not stumble, for they see by this world's light."
So like, read that one more time. That is so good to me. I'm sorry. That's really bad.
Jesus answered, "Are there not 12 hours of daylight? Anyone who walks in the daytime will not stumble, for they see by this world's light."
That is, to me, that's just like, it's not my favorite verse of all time, but it is a
No,
very good light.
it is
I
a
mean,
good
a good
verse.
verse for this,
Thank
especially
you
this.
for showing me that new
Of
verse.
course, of course. So like, I mean, it's relatively self-explanatory, and at the same time, when I first read it, that's why I wanted to read it again. So I guess this would be the third time I've read it today. But the first time when I was looking at it for this podcast, like when I read it, I was confused because I was like, why is he talking about 12 hours a day? And just at first it confused me, but hearing it again, like the analogy I got even when I read it. So I guess I am lying. I didn't read it 3 times. I read it multiple times when I was at my house. So I
Wow.
can
How
understand
dare
it.
you lie? That's a sin.
I'm going to hell, straight to hell. No, but just like stumble, like there's 12 hours a day, and that I don't really pay that much attention to. But like he's mentioning, like how can you stumble when it's light? Like how can you stumble out when it's light outside? And that's the way I see it is, even though we say like it's gonna get harder the more into the faith you are, I also see it as like when it's pitch black, if you're walking around a room, if you hit something, you most likely are gonna fall. Like if there's like a book bag in front of you and you're walking, if you kick it not knowing anything's there, you have more of a chance of falling down
Yeah.
versus if I'm walking and even though I'm not paying attention, like if I walked and tripped over a bag, I can catch myself because I can see and like I'm aware.
Yeah.
And so the same thing with like walking in the faith, when you have that light, when you know that He's got you, when you are when you are separating yourself from Him, or in the separating yourself from the faith, or from even the Word, in my opinion, like at least for me, like if I have, when I think of tripping and stumbling, I think of it being the stumble part is temptation, and falling down
Is giving in.
the actual sin, yeah. And so
Yeah.
like when yes, I can be tempted by this bag, even though I know it's not right. I wasn't paying attention, which put me into the situation to be tempted or kick a bag, and but knowing that I can see, knowing a verse, or not even if you don't know a verse, because I'm still struggling. Like I don't have every verse memorized, so I
Yeah,
can't just instantly think of it. But like
yeah.
knowing there's, I know enough, like you were saying, enough analogies, enough just small things, enough to where that's gonna stop me from falling down, falling into sin.
So when I hear that, my analogy or my thought process is not the same. So
Wrong.
I like what you said. That makes a perfect sense to me, but that's not what I thought of first. What I think of first is how do you not do well in the light when you have so many other lights around you? So say at church, how do you not see well when you have all the mentors around you that you could need? How do you trip and stumble?
I see that as they just come, like they just not purposely, but they just don't care to acknowledge the light. Almost.
Exactly.
It's like if you were in a lit room, but you're
And you
doing something to halt your like wearing blind shades, like where you can't see
or like
past
drunk
it.
goggles or
Yeah, you're
something,
purposefully like
skewing your view.
yeah, and like I mean, obviously someone's not going to church and like I don't want to learn, but they're not wanting, like subconsciously they're not eager to actually pick anything up from it. So like then they aren't, like they're still technically,
Well,
even
even
if they're
that,
in the
like
light, they're
if
still
you're
in the darkness.
intentionally losing sleep, that's a security alarm.
I know, sound like someone pushed it through or walked out.
Did they walk out or did someone walk in? Should we be stopping this? Should we go check it out?
Just don't lock the door.
Can you?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Slight technical difficulties. There's a fire alarm going off. Should we look out? Hold on.
You scared us. We thought you were a burglar.
Who is that? Oh, okay.
Because he laughed when I said I didn't say anything. I said we thought you were regular. He goes, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah, I heard him.
Scary. Okay.
Guys stressed us out.
Um,
I like I was saying, I think even going to church and sabotaging yourself in the first place by not getting enough sleep and making sure that you're tired at church,
yeah.
I feel like that's another way of messing
Purposely,
up
messing up the light that you have
that you have right in
opportunity
front
to
of
be.
you.
Yeah. That's
Which,
actually
I
really
mean,
good.
I've done that before, but that's also like, oh my gosh, another Sunday. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not feeling it right now. Like, there's definitely days where Christians
Feel that way, yeah.
feel that way. But I've also had some times where it's like, okay, I don't want to get up, but I go back and watch the YouTube version.
Mhm.
Like, I skew myself in the beginning, but I come back and full circle it again.
I like that. That's actually really good.
Because Union Chapel post everything on YouTube. They post it afterwards, or you can watch it live. Like, it's one of those things.
So, what do you think darkness is? Like, when you think of the darkness, I know we kind of touched on it, so we don't really have to go back to it
Yeah.
that long, but like, when you, in your opinion, like, what is your darkness?
Um,
Because, well, I mean, we don't, so I want to
I mean, I
answer
can go
myself.
into
No, yeah,
depth.
first, so, because in my opinion, like, when I was telling you guys to watch Tim Ross, like, he will share anything, and like, I know over time if a topic comes up that I'm not, even if there's two things I plan on taking to the grave with me, and since just because, yeah, that's just how it was. But
I thought he was grabbing on that doorknob.
he would have walked into the room we were recording at. He just did. So
Bro,
he would have walked straight in. But
he's scaring me. He walked away. Bro is stressing us out. Sorry,
yeah.
guys.
But like he would share like that he was molested at a young age, that he got into porn at a young age, that he was doing all these things. Like I'm I've come into this podcast, and it's okay if everyone takes a different time. But I want this to be the most vulnerable, like not the most, but like a vulnerable space where nothing is feeling like it's going to be judged
Yeah,
or turned against you. That's the
which,
biggest thing.
like, I don't care if this goes on the internet. Like, I'm a very open book about the struggles that I've gone with. So I will tell you right now, I struggle with porn addiction,
Mm,
which I feel like most men do.
yeah.
And it's rough because you have the easy access, instant gratification.
Mm,
And it's just so easy in this world because you see it all over
so much
social
access to
media.
it. Yeah.
You
Listen,
can look it up easily on your phone.
and it
Like,
doesn't have to be straight up porn. Like how many models are posted on
how many
Instagram
models,
that
how
are
many
naked?
like girls that we know just
Yeah.
go to the beach or go on vacation and they're like, having fun in so and so place, and
They're
they're
basically naked.
basically naked. Yeah. It's like that's that's the temptation.
That's your darkness.
That's
Or your
yeah.
book bag. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the book bag,
That
and
you
that's the
give it
temptation. And
all.
then you go, oh, I want to go watch porn now,
Mm,
and that's the sin.
mm,
It is, I think, it's by far one of the biggest things that men struggle with because so many men deal with it. And another one is just mental health.
mm. That's the darkness for you.
And we can sit here and say men, men, men.
Yeah.
We just don't
That's
have a
not an
female
excuse.
on
Yeah.
this podcast yet. We
Yeah.
don't know female struggles like women do.
Yeah.
So we're this isn't to offend anyone. It's
Yeah.
just we know each other
Yeah.
and we know how men behave.
So like I definitely don't want to ever come off because I'm no matter what I do, I'm never gonna be a perfect Christian. Like I
No.
always will. Everyone falls short. The, I hate saying the Pope because that guy is not like I don't care what anyone says.
And I don't want to see people like thinking us doing this makes us any better than
Yeah,
anyone
no,
else.
yeah.
We're just some kids from a little town.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I wanted speaking on that, or like because you said that, whenever I was thinking when Sandrin was like me and him were working together, and when I brought up the idea to him, he was like, "So what is your purpose behind this?" And at first I gave an answer that I just kind of gave an answer, and then
Yeah.
this is the day I was still fasting, so like answers were coming to me. Um, the the reason, because I was also watching or listening to a podcast while I was working.
Mhm.
Um, but like I was listening to Tim Ross. I'm gonna keep plugging that guy. I don't care. He's
He's a
so
good
good.
source.
Yeah.
He has lots of good ideas and have good topics.
Exactly. And like he was talking, which was hilarious because it was probably like 10 minutes after Sandra had asked me that question. He brought up he had no reason because that wasn't the message behind the podcast, but he's like, I don't care if the culture doesn't like it. I don't care if people don't like what I say because I'm being vulnerable and he cusses every once in a while or he says nigga like so people are like, "Oh, you shouldn't be saying that." And like
Because you're a Christian.
yeah, but it's like he's doing this purely just to share the truth
Well, some
about
people would even say that about saying hell. It's
yeah,
like,
it's
dude, it's a
yeah,
place.
and like sorry if some of you were offended by me saying nigga, like I'm not when I say this, I'm not trying to degrade like and I mean I don't cuss personally, but like some people do and like that's okay. I'm not gonna judge you. But like if you're doing it to offend somebody or something like that, then I could see
Degrade.
yeah, like degrade it, then that's an issue. But like when I say the N-word, I'm not doing that to degrade anyone. I say it because it's just in my
You
vocabulary.
say it because it's vocabulary and
Yeah,
it's like, oh, you're my homie.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. That's how I
you're my
mean it.
friend.
And so oh, where was I? I don't know. I got off track. Sorry.
It's
But
part of the
like
podcast.
yeah, it really is. But he was talking about his message. Yeah, like I was saying, it's just to share the truth and be an like a source of hearing God
Yeah.
and letting like it reach people. And like, so basically, what I want to get at is the purpose behind these videos that'll constantly be coming out. Um,
Hopefully weekly.
yeah, the goal is weekly. We're gonna make it weekly. We're just not sure which day it will actually be
We're
published.
just
We're gonna record every Sunday. That's a promise.
we're
That's a
just
guarantee.
not sure how many people we'll have each time.
Yeah.
Which
And
I like this setup, but like we were talking about earlier, I think we're gonna have to get more mics,
yeah, no, yeah,
especially for
definitely.
this setup.
Yeah, I
Because if we
agree.
have more than just Sandra and you and I,
It'll be
it's gonna
harder.
be rough.
Yeah. Um, oh
Off
yeah,
track again.
but no, you're good. You're good. But yeah, I just want this podcast like we want to show you that it is okay to be vulnerable. If you have people you need to find people that you can be vulnerable with. In a sense, you don't have to worry about them turning it against you, holding it against you, or feeling ashamed by sharing it. And that's one big thing I want this to be about. And the second thing is just being able to show you that young adults, even if you're older than us or younger than us, like there's people in the world that truly do care. And I want this to be I don't care to be a celebrity at all. Like even
Yeah.
if I had one follower or one subscriber, or we had one subscriber, or we had 10
Even if
billion,
the
like
subscribers are just us.
like I want just whoever this comes upon to be somewhat of a inspiration, not because of us, but because of you seeing young adults that have no reason, especially if they want to follow the culture, they have no reason to care about doing something like this, taking time to talk about God, actually caring about God, or even believing in Him, seeing this and being like, okay, well, if these young adults care this much, let me see what it's about. Let me like even if they don't want to admit it and trust them, if they think about it more than just when they see it the first time, we've sparked an interest, and that's all I can ask for. Because I know I'm never gonna be able to say one thing and it converts someone into a diehard Christian.
Well, I think even if we're not the biggest light, like even if someone that has a little bit of darkness but is still like a lukewarm Christian
Yeah,
comes and sees this and they're like
yeah,
they want to comment and they're like I love what you guys are doing or just anything. It's not like we're not here to be celebrities like
yeah.
you said. We're here just to like
To have
again
fun and just
be
be able,
open. This
yeah,
is something that would be fun. Like
yeah,
if something comes out of this, then that's just a plus.
yeah,
But it's like the whole point is share what we think because that men leading men thing that I
mm-hmm.
was talking about, they were like, dude, did you realize that you were the baby today? I was like, yeah, I'm fine with that. Like, it's not a problem. It's me stepping out of my comfort zone. And they're like, I had a few people because a lot of them were like middle-aged 50-year-old men. They were like, we're older people. We have different views. We grow up in a different
Time,
timeline.
yeah,
They're like, we have old ideas and we need new ones. And I
yeah.
said,
You can still
we have
inspire the
new
lost
ideas,
people.
but even we need some of the old ideas.
Mm,
So it's again a mentoring thing. It's learning from each other. And if you have a problem with talking with older people, I'm sorry, but you won't get all the information you
yeah,
need
or
because
younger people either. Like if you
yeah,
can't be humble enough to say, like in the sense of a 50-year-old. I don't want to listen to me or you, 18-year-olds, because they're younger than me. They
Because
must
you're
not know.
arrogant or something.
Yeah,
It's
like
like
you're gonna miss out on what God has for you
it needs to
specifically.
be a mutual relationship.
Hmm.
And even from the middle age to the older generations, like there's even a gap there. You guys are way similar, but like we all have information that we need to benefit off of each other. Like it should all be mutual. And especially in faith, dude. Like I know a lot of older people that were like, yeah, we didn't have this. There was no upbeat music like what we have at Union Chapel. It was all the hymns and
Hmm.
the original books that have the hymns, and you flip to a page and find it. It's like there's still those around, and I don't mind going to them.
Yeah.
Or even just interracial churches. Like
Relax. Ugh.
black churches, they're
Disgusting.
different
Black
than
people. Just
what we have going on at Union Chapel. But
it,
I still love everyone
yeah.
the same. I don't know. It's just different energies.
Yeah.
It's all fun.
But
We're
yeah,
all doing the
if
same
even if
thing, loving
God
the same
prays,
God.
yeah, then it doesn't. Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, I agree.
There was a question yesterday, actually,
You keep poking
at
at my
the
pants because it pokes up. I don't want people thinking I'm a boner.
yeah
Oh, he talked about a wiener. That's so bad. No,
yeah.
it's a
Uh, but there
human
was a
body.
question yesterday that a guy asked. He said, how do we get interracial, different religions, different beliefs to even come together? And one of the guys stopped for a second and he goes, "You're doing it right now. We're all from different churches. We believe
Just
in
love.
the same God. We love the same God. So how can you not?"
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, God is love. There's like, even if they, like, in the sense of that, it's a lot. I guess you have more similarities than most people think, but like, even in the sense of like us being Christians and someone either believing in a different religion or not believing in anything at all. Like at the end of the day, the way we can, every person, regardless of what they say, everyone needs love. Everyone wants love. And that's the thing. God isn't, you have to do this, 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 and this to make it to heaven and also to receive my love. No. He's going to
It's
give you love
grace.
regardless. And exactly. And so, like, that's another way, like, also for shining a light is to
Yeah.
bring it back to that. Is like, at the end of the day, all like that we can, like, even if you don't know much about God or the Bible, just mention the fact that he is love. That's just an undeniable fact. He's going to give you love that you've never felt before. He's going to fill that hole. Everyone says, "Yeah, I feel complete." If they don't have God, there's still something they always miss. They're missing something, and they can fill it with other things from this world, whether it's money, cars, women, drugs, sex, any of that stuff. But at the end of the day, once that's over, you still have that empty hole again.
Yeah.
And
Once that's
God's
over, what do
love,
you have?
exactly, and God's love is something that's not going to be, well, once it's over, it's, you're still missing something. He's going to fill that hole and it's not going to go anywhere. That's the difference. You
Yeah,
might
which
feel it.
is a great segue into today's sermon by Christopher. Shout out to him, youth pastor at Union Chapel. But uh, John 4 talking about, "I have the living water, and whoever drinks from the living water will never thirst again. You will always be satisfied in his love."
Mm.
And I think that's just a big thing. It's like everyone just wants to feel that love, and that's why, like, even if you're on the fence, just know that God still has unconditional love for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's one of the best things.
Even if
And
you don't believe in God, He's still going to love
yeah,
you
he still
regardless.
loves you unconditionally, even if you're on the fence or don't believe at all. Like, I've seen people quite literally do full 180s on their life and go from loving Satan and doing Satanism to, oh my God, God is the best thing to
Amazing.
ever
Yeah.
happen to me. And those are, like you said, miraculous. They're miracles.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All right, you're going to hate me. I have to pee. I'm going to pee on myself if I don't. It's like hurting my
you have to
teeth.
put your shoes on to go pee?
Well, I'm not trying to. Oh my gosh, it hurts my bladder. That's bad. Give me a second, guys. I'm sorry.
All right, well, bye, Trey. Don't run into the scary man. Well, now that he's gone, I think one of the biggest things that really helped me out to deciding that I want to come into the faith is an analogy of one side you have God, your unconditional love, and on the other side you have Satan and hell. and then in the middle you have a fence. If you jump onto one side, you're in hell. If you jump onto the other, you're essentially heaven. You're in the love. But even if you sit on that fence, you're still basically giving to the devil and to hell, because the devil claims that fence, because you're either fully committed to God or you're living in a world full of sin. And I think that's hard for people to understand sometimes, is like, but I'm on the fence. I don't know what I really want. You're still comfortable and you're still deciding, like, I don't know that I fully trust God, but what I do trust is something that I already do, and it's comfortable. So, hey, welcome back.
Dude, that was such a quick.
I was just giving an analogy again. Have you heard the analogy about one side is hell, one side is heaven, and there's a fence
The
in
fence.
between?
Oh, that's such a good
See,
analogy. I love that.
That's what I was just saying while you were gone.
About lukewarms. Oh, that'll be a whole nother. That could be a whole nother podcast.
That could be a
about
whole
lukewarm.
nother video.
I already have, like, throughout this whole podcast, every time we've talked, even if it's been a brief thing, I have at least 3 or 4 different podcast topics that we could do. Which
Well, even he said like he has another one
like
too.
the men's. Oh yeah, it's gonna be.
Yeah.
We got some videos coming for you guys.
Dude, I'm excited.
But
we're thinking about wrapping this up.
Yeah. Okay. So also the reason I keep this is the third, maybe fourth time I peed since I've been here, and we were here. What time is it?
Right now it's 3:42, and we've been here since 1:30.
And I peed 3. Well, okay. So the reason I keep having to pee is because I'm fasting. So today, Sundays are the days I'm gonna start. This is the first time I've done it for Sundays, but I'm gonna be fasting for the whole day, and so I gotta drink a lot of water. And I just had coffee, as you guys saw throughout the video, to keep me full so I'm not hungry. And it helps, like, it just helps with a craving. And then being able to rely on God and have Him keep me from falling into eating food, even though it's not a sin, but like it's helping me show. Anyways, that's a topic for another day.
I was about to say that can be a whole other video too. Yeah, fasting is insane. Huge.
Yeah, and so that's why I keep having to pee.
Someone just knock on the door.
No, it was my foot. Or it was the chair and me doing that.
I was like,
but yeah, no, it did. I at first, then you had me overthinking it. But say, oh, so yeah, because we are wrapping up. So I was fasting, like I was saying, but on Wednesdays are the days that I'm gonna fast. I'm gonna ask a question in the morning and fast until I get the answer. And I was doing it last Wednesday, and I'd asked a question. I can't really remember the question because I didn't get an answer for that question. I got other answers, and so to give you that answers, one was about, what did I tell you it was? Oh, about which days I'm gonna fast and do certain things about them. That was one answer, and the big answer is what I was also waiting towards the end. So this wraps up perfectly.
Awesome.
Is I had well, we briefly talked about. I didn't tell you what it was. So I was sitting, and I thought my only answer was going to be about the times I'm going to fast. But the big answer, and this is the thing I actually got a vision about, it wasn't anything crazy. It was just I saw it happening, and what could come from it is that I'm going to, and it's not 100%, there's not enough, like, there's not a whole bunch of details, but there's going to be a lot coming from it, is I'm going to get a group of men, and we're going to go. I don't call it I call it a vacation, but some people wouldn't. We're gonna it's gonna be a guy's trip to where we're gonna go somewhere, which, like I said, I don't have all the details yet, but there's gonna be people. I'm gonna pray about who needs to go on this, because obviously, like, I can take all my friends, like I could take you and everyone else I know that I consider my friends.
I'm a friend, but I'm also, we're also growing at like the same.
Yeah, and like, but there's going to be people who are more in the faith than us. There's going to be people who are a lot less or at the same.
For sure.
And I'm going to pray about who needs to go on this, because it's going to be like, it's just, I don't know how many days. Like I said, I don't have all the details, but these days when we go away are going to be purely about us getting closer to God and getting away from the distractions of this world, which also means we're going to be shooting podcasts on these days. some of these days, not every single day, because I want us to still be.
Honestly, like
Yeah.
that's a good idea, and for sure don't record every day because
Yeah.
that's like going somewhere and being like, yeah, I only want to take pictures. It's like
Yeah.
live in the moment. Come on.
Exactly. And like, just to give a brief summary, like it's gonna be we're waking up. There's no phones allowed until everyone's going to sleep. Like that's the only time phones will ever be actually allowed to be used. Besides, like if someone needs directions, like that's the only other exception. No social media, none of that. And like we're gonna be waking up. We're gonna be making sure all of us, not just one of us, is reading daily. We're gonna be praying together. We're gonna be worshiping, listening to worship music together. Like, and then Sandra, who's not here anymore, he brought up when I was, because this is during work that I had this like vision, is like he also sees us like wherever I end up going, like whenever whoever like wherever we end up going, I'm gonna have to plan ahead and check out areas near that place we're staying, so that way we can go and do like how we did in serve, but we can go and ask a church if they need help with anything, if they need us to paint anything, if there's people who need their lawn mowed, if
Or
there's like
even just
we're
like
gonna
food
go help.
drives.
Yeah, we're gonna go out and help like at least once. We're gonna try to do it every day, but like at some point we're gonna help somebody, and we're not going to ask them for the money to help them. We're not going to get money from them. If anything, we're spending our own money to help them. And so,
Yeah.
but like I said, there'll be at least one, maybe two podcasts that come out of it, depending on how long we're there or how long it takes. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a little teaser, and this is the first time he's hearing about
Yeah,
it.
I am
That
blown away right now.
but trust me, there's gonna be a lot of great things that come from just this, not just from for in the sense of the podcast, but anyone who's on this trip, I know everyone who's going on this is gonna gain something, whether it's a revelation of what they need to be doing or what God has in store for them, or if it's just something as simple as peace and rest, like
Yeah.
how Sabbath is, like it's peace and rest, like Tim, this is once again quoting him, like he'd
Tim.
taken his whole group, his whole like all the people who do like the camera stuff, all the people that help him like edit or his family or their families. Like he took their like their relationship, their romantic partners with them. He took like all his group of people and their like significant others to Australia for a month so they could all rest. And some of them were like, I came into it being like, oh, God's gonna open my eyes to this new idea, this new revelation. And then one of the dudes, like he expected that, but he ended up not getting that. But once he looked back on it, he realized what he gained from that was rest, because he didn't realize how addicted he was to his phone and checking social media
Yeah.
and all that. And since he wasn't on his phone, he didn't realize how much he needed that type of revelation in a sense, because it wasn't what he wanted. He wanted an answer or to be shown something, but
Well, that's how it was for me
that's,
the other day when fasting. It's like you don't realize that you're getting your answers until the next day or if you look
yeah.
back.
So that's yeah. I just want to end it off on that. That
Well,
big
dude, I'm
things are
excited
coming. There's big things coming,
for
and
sure. And we have big ideas for
Brady's
the.
not allowed to come.
Oh, I thought you said the podcast was gonna happen. How you gonna do that without me?
Brady's not going. He's black.
I have all the tech though.
We're gonna steal Brady's tech. No, but yeah, I'm excited, and
I'm super
like I said,
excited for the ideas.
there's a not. I have like I'm starting to add more things to the notes, and I made sure I did the day I had the vision, so I didn't forget about it or just blow it off. But I know, like I said, anyone who's gonna be end up going on that, they're gaining something, and I can promise you that.
Yeah. Well, guys, we have some big ideas coming. We have some ways to improve. Uh, Thinking about everything, but have we officially decided a name? Like, do we want to go with that? Do we want to reveal it, or do we want to save it?
We'll have it on the video, like they'll know by looking at the channel. We're not gonna say it out loud because we still, I guess, there's one that we really want to stick with, but just in case we don't say it, and we don't want to look stupid, so
Yeah.
you'll see it like looking at our YouTube channel's name. So
All right. Well, there's a teaser. We have a name.
yeah,
You'll see it when you find the video. But
yeah, it's
I'm excited. Uh,
good
Weekly
things are coming
videos,
just from the podcast itself.
big things.
Um, So yeah, thank you guys for anyone who stuck to the end, even if they didn't stick to the end. Anyone who gave us 3 minutes of their time, 3 seconds of their time. I want to say thank you to all of you guys. thank you to all of you guys. And
Which is crazy
yeah,
because this is gonna be a long video.
yeah,
We've been here for a while.
and yeah. I mean, I don't really expect anyone to watch the entire thing. I probably will watch this just when I'm
I
working,
probably will.
but like, so I can listen to something that's about God. But like, even if someone watched a minute and a half of this, like anyone who clicked on the video,
Thank you.
Yeah, just genuinely thank you. And we like if you appreciate it, obviously you can show your love by doing whatever you need to do, liking, commenting, sharing, or even just literally watching the video is enough. For in my opinion, that's I can't. I'd say thank you enough for that. Like I can't say thank you enough for even just clicking on it. So yeah,
This is awesome, man.
this is awesome.
This is the start.
It's a good start.
Yeah,
So
I'm very happy. I'm so glad that Sandra got to show up too.
mhm.
I mean, it's crazy. We're doing it. We said we wanted a video out by the end of this month, and we started 2 weeks early.
And we're getting this video out. It should be. My
Well,
prediction is it'll be out before Wednesday.
yeah. If we can't get it out by Wednesday, then
We won't kill ourselves over it, but I might. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
might be a little upset.
But no, and I want to publish this on a specific day so that way it's every time. I honestly Wednesday works perfectly for
Honestly, if
me.
we can record Sundays and get it out midweek
Wednesday
each
would
week,
work, yeah, perfectly because then that's the day I'm not having to
that's
work at Lowe's and then I
yeah,
can
that's
publish
the
it.
day that you have nothing going on.
Exactly.
I
So
might work in the evening, and Wednesdays work perfectly for me because I don't have school until like 3 p.m. and it's online lecture.
okay.
So
we might, yeah.
so if we have to get together, talk about editing and do stuff, then yeah, it'll work.
All right. So
We just have to make sure we get up early.
yeah, that's true. I'll be up, but yeah.
Yeah.
So once again, thank you guys for sticking to the end if you did, or even sticking in 3 seconds in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we'll see you guys next time.
And hopefully the videos won't be as long.
No, they're
Maybe.
gonna be anything.
An
It could
hour and
be-
a half, I don't know.
Yeah,
It
an
might
hour
be
and a
a little
half.
too
We
long.
might not always have an hour and a half, or most likely
Or we
always
might cut
have
it into half and half.
Yeah, but
But thank you.
thank you if you stuck to then. Yeah, peace out, guys.